Oh, right. Now I was like debating because we're going to talk about our top, or we're going to talk about our top five most anticipated films for 2025. And I feel like, boy, a lot of them are like gimmies, right?
Yes, yes. I I felt that way as I've been making my list, and I tried to do deeper and look at some different
Right.
dramas and some other ones, but I just kept coming back to like the same ones, and I'm like, am I basic?
No, no, I just think like, I mean, they're anticipated for, for a reason.
Yeah.
And I obviously the one I think we can go ahead and it's like, we know, was it Fantastic Four,
Yes.
Superman?
Yes.
Do you have Thunderbolts on there?
I do have Thunderbolts on
Okay.
there.
Thunderbolts on there.
That one I'm excited for because of the ensemble, the cast. I just am a big fan. So
Right. And Avatar?
no, actually,
Okay.
and it's not anything against the franchise per se. I know it's coming, and I was just like, oh, okay.
Right.
I
Yes.
do have
Yes.
some honorable mentions on there. Avatar did not make the honorable mentions.
Okay, so like we can go ahead. I mean, you can pump me for information for, I mean, like I've already, because like obviously if we had made this list before I had seen um, Captain America, that would have been
Brave
on my
New World, yeah.
list. I Man, you can tell there was a good movie in there somewhere, but after 17, 19 writers and three, four reshoots, it just, I mean, and
That's
it's
what's
no,
scaring me about the new Star Wars movie, the new Jedi Order movie that's not even started yet, but they've hired either their second or third writer. And I was like, I think second. We'll go with second. But I was just like, we've already lost a writer and brought in a new one. This one, he did Ocean's 12 and a couple other things that I recognized. But I was just like, Star Wars, I love you, but you are not in a position like you don't have the grace to be doing all of this. Like if it gets to this point,
right.
and the movie.
Yeah, yeah, we can discuss it after you've seen it. I don't want to give anything away. I mean, I don't think it's any kind of, I don't think it's a secret, but Red Hulk is only in it for about 10 minutes and it's at the end of the movie.
So I don't know if that was a secret, but for some reason I felt like that was going. I kind of felt like it was thrown into the trailers and pitched a lot, but I thought it was going to be kind of like Spider-Man and Civil War, where you don't actually see Spider-Man until towards the end.
Right.
You see him at the airplane fight, and after that,
Right.
he
You see him in a
disappears
credit scene.
because then it goes back to I always say the adults are talking now. Like you have
Right.
Spider-Man in there, or the adults are talking. Spider-Man appears, makes his gimmicks, and then it goes back to Tony and Cap trying to kill each other. But
Right.
in the trailers, it was just like Spider-Man, Spider-Man,
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
I will say that they at least did a good job with in the Spider-Man Civil Wars. Like they had Tony Stark go to his apartment, talk
Okay,
to, like,
yes, true.
and then like they had him there, then the fight, and they had him in a huge chunk of the fight, and he was a major player in the fight, and then they had him in a post-credit scene, which, I like I said, I don't know if it's a spoiler. I mean, I'm sorry if it is, but it's yeah, it's at the very end. Like I said, I'm not going to give away any more than that. There is a post credit scene at the very, 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 very end
Ugh.
of the credits. Like you think the lights are coming up, and the lights actually might come up by the time this credit scene comes on. I don't know, but that's the only one you get. It's okay. I've got thoughts, but again, that's a conversation for another day because I think much like the post that I tagged you in, you'll
Oh,
understand
that ruined my day.
you'll understand why the post credit scene, I don't want to say has anything to do with that, but like there's parts in the movie that reference, again, this is really hard. I don't like giving spoilers, but there is discussions that come up in this movie and you'll understand that why I tagged you in that
Okay.
later. Like more. Like I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that is already pretty clear, but it's yeah. So anyways, but like that would have been on the list, but that's kind of already.
Yeah.
So I what is like what are some okay, so we got like Thunderbolts. Do you have Wicked?
I do have Wicked.
Okay. So Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Superman, Wicked. Um was there another one that we like was like, okay, this would be in Wicked. Okay, so those are like the four, like, yeah, obviously those are obvious ones. So is there anything that's not those four? Go
I've
ahead.
got a list.
Oh, okay.
Well, a list. I mean, most of those were on it, but I added some other ones just in case.
I'm listening. I'm just shutting the door. Go ahead.
All right. My first one, and I'm not into the sport as much as I would like to be, but the F1 movie
Oh,
with Brad
yes, the
Pitt,
Brad Pitt. Mhm.
that comes out in July, and just knowing that they filmed scenes during actual F1 races,
Yes.
like I'm excited for that. I'm hoping they treat the in-car scenes kind of like we got with Top Gun Maverick,
All right.
where
You feel
it's
like you're
not
there.
exactly. So
Okay.
that one is a big one. I want to see that one on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
I will take time out of my day to like make sure I can get to a theater to see that one.
Mm-hmm.
My next one is Ballerina. It's the John Wick spinoff
Oh, yes, I have that one on there. Mm-hmm.
with Ana de Armas. I love the John Wick movies. I love Ana de Armas. I think the combination of those two is just it's going to be great. I'm always in for a fast-paced action movie.
Right. I will go back to the F1. The only reason I'm a little worried about the F1 is I can't wait to see that movie either. The it because that is I do want to see I think they did a great job with Ford versus Ferrari. However, racing movies tend not to do good at the theater for some reason, and I don't know why that is. And I'm
Interesting.
hoping that this because like nobody went out and saw Ferrari. I don't think anybody really saw Ferrari.
But didn't it,
Um,
wasn't it like up for Oscar nominations?
I think so. I think so. Yeah, I'm sure for something probably at least. Um, but and then like a very under the radar underrated movie that I felt was Gran Turismo. It was a
Was that
better movie than I think people like would think it would be. Like I didn't even have high expectations for it going in, and I ended up really enjoying it.
is that a racing movie?
Yeah. Yeah, because the kid he like they I think he does some sort of contest through Gran Turismo, the game, and
Oh,
yeah,
that one. I was
yeah.
thinking the one. What is that old Western guy that I'm blanking on his name? Whatever. I know what you're talking about now.
Hmm.
That one, yeah, because that was like a true story.
Yes.
Um, okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So like that one to me is like it was like under the radar. I don't think most people even probably saw it. I don't think most people were probably even expecting much out of it. And I actually quite enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
So but yeah, like race I'm just I'm hoping that it
Hoping
does
that
better
people
than
actually go out to see it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think people like really I've got another movie like I just watched The Gorge. That's an Apple movie that's coming out at the
That
end
was
of
on my
this.
list, but I don't have Apple TV, so I took it off my list.
Okay. I watched it, but I'm not gonna do my review for it yet because I was watching it while I was at work.
Didn't
And
get
so
the
I'm like,
full
I was
experience.
right. I was bored. I was bored. I ended up not liking it as much as the others who we all like, reviewed the movie and they were like, "Oh,
Mhm.
I love this movie." And I was like, was I just not paying attention to it or was I really
You're gonna give
bored?
it another shot.
I'm really going to try to because like I that's the reason I highly suggest people go to movie theaters and see movies because you at least should put away your phone for
Yeah.
2 hours. I mean, like you should. I don't know if you most people do, but you should because I have found again, if I rewatch this movie and am like, wait a minute, this was great, that goes to show that my distraction interrupted the rhythm and the flow of this movie. And
Mm,
if that's what people are doing and then rating these movies badly, that's kind of on you, the universal you, for not putting your phone away
for
and
sure.
like watching a movie from beginning to end and seeing, what the pace and the rhythm and the editing that the director has laid out, if that's really if it works or it doesn't,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So I have watched it. I haven't, like I said, haven't done a review for it because I was like, don't give it because it's February is so easy to give everything just a crap. Oh, it's so painful right now. Oh, but anyways, I digress. Go ahead. You have, yes, F1, the ballerina. I am also excited about the ballerina. I'm wondering how they're going to, I have seen trailers for it. I wonder
Hmm.
how I guess they shot it before the guy died.
Louis Riddick. Yeah, I've
Yes.
wondered that too because
I hate AI stuff.
exactly, and I know he's credited in it,
Right.
so I'm very curious
You
to
do
see.
see him in the trailer, so and talking, and so I'm like, but I don't know if it was such a fast scene that I was like,
Right.
is it going to be AI or did they actually film these before? I would have to look that up, but
Yeah.
okay. F1, the ballerina.
Predator Badlands. It's a new
Oh,
Predator
okay.
movie that comes out in October. That's one of those ones that's like hit or miss. Like I love the Predator universe, but I
Sure.
also can acknowledge that they've kind of just been pumping out some of them. I thought the Prey that came out on Hulu
Yes.
a couple years ago, I thought it was different, but I enjoyed it.
It
This
was
one
good.
is modern, so guns and all that. I want it to be good, but I know
Yes.
that when it comes to some action movies, they just kind of phone it in, I feel like. But I love the universe. So
Right. I
I've
have
got
looked up the chronology for that. I think I'm going to try to because I'm
oh
going to try to
really?
work the show into it. Yeah.
I like it. I've got The Running Man that comes out in November with
Oh
Glenn
yeah.
Powell because
He's everywhere.
he's the guy. Um
I really want to hate
love
him and I can't. I really do. I wanted to hate him like during that Super Bowl commercial. I was like,
ugh,
I really do because like he just like I mean again, if anybody's seen Top Gun Maverick, yeah, you just honestly really kind of do just he just gets under your skin because he is good as an actor. And the thing is, everything you see with him with like interviews and the press, he just really it seems to be, as of right now, a genuinely good guy who loves
yeah,
to put his parents in his movies like but you just kind of like oh god like he seems to be like everything you want to hate and you're just like
yes.
god just
So that
don't.
one's coming out. I'm excited for it mainly because I forgot how much I liked the first one until I was traveling for work. I was bored in my hotel room, so I started
Mhm.
flipping through the channels and it had just started. So I watched it and I was like, man, it was a good story. Like honestly, it's an action movie in the 80s with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like
Sure.
it's got the cheesy stuff, but just
Right.
I enjoyed it. And so with the technology we have now, I feel like they could do a fun, good, I don't know if it's a retelling, a reboot,
Right.
continuation, I don't know. But
Right.
if you were giving me the Running Man type formula, I'm all in. So
Speaking of, they're doing a Tron too this year.
that's on my list. Comes out in
Really? Is it? Oh, I'm
October.
sorry, go
Yes, it
ahead.
is on my list. My only reason that I'm not super excited for it is because Morbius, what's his face, is in it.
Jared Leto.
Jared, yes,
Jared
not a
Leto.
huge fan of him.
Yeah.
So that's like my only setback. But
Right.
I enjoyed the Tron universe. I know the most recent one, which was like 10 and 12 or more years ago, didn't
Right.
do great,
Right.
but I enjoyed again taking another stab at that universe. Like I know it's not an
Sure.
original idea anymore,
Sure.
but the light bikes and then Daft Punk doing the soundtrack, I enjoyed the movie. It could have been better, but it was fine. I'm excited for this one. I'm just not a Jared Leto fan, but it is on my list. It comes out in October.
Nice.
And then my last one is Mission Impossible.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Okay.
always
All right.
down for Tom Cruise trying to kill himself.
right? Always like, what's he gonna dangle himself off of
It's
this
I
time?
like they've run out of things now. Like I feel like they're just like trying to
Well,
talk to NASA. I was like,
I
how can
mean,
we
they
use this?
haven't done what Fast and the Furious 10 did. They haven't sent him to space.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're talking to NASA right now, and it's like, so no CGI. Like we want to actually
Right.
put him up there. We want to have him dang. You know how Sandra
Drop
Bullock
from the
is
moon.
floating in gravity? Like we want to do that. Like just hang him out there.
We're just gonna have him, we're gonna have him parachute from the moon back
Right.
down to Earth. Yes,
Yes.
that's yeah. Good. I had Mission Impossible on mine too. Yeah, that final reckoning. I guess this is it. It?
I've enjoyed the movies. I actually need to
Sure.
watch Dead Reckoning again because I watched it
Mm-hmm.
on a flight, didn't think I was as tired as I was, fell asleep like through half of it. So I actually need to sit down and rewatch it on a full screen and not my phone. But
Right.
outside of I've liked all of them except for the second one. I think the second one was kind of terrible. But they're good movies, but once you get to 10, which is what I think this one would be,
Is it?
is it
Is it? I think it might be eight.
maybe yeah, okay, maybe you're
Okay.
right. I just
Or maybe you're right. I don't know. I
things
really
have
do need to
run their
count them,
course. Like, I think it's a great franchise
but
that
it
has
needs to come to an
adapted
end.
with the times really well.
Sure.
But at some point, I think you just end the franchise. But then again, I think if it grosses a certain amount of money, the studio is like, well, you have to come back. Because I think like Fast and Furious was supposed to end after six or seven, but that was the one where Paul Walker died. And
Sure.
because he died, so many more people went to see it. It ended up grossing like $1 billion worldwide. And then I think Fox or whoever was like, yeah, so we're gonna make another one. And then that spawned two more after that. So, but
That's
you put
insane.
final in it, you would think that that's we've reached the end of the
I mean,
road.
yeah, he's what, 62, 63. Like,
Yeah.
let's make him the head of the IMF. It's time. It's
Right,
time for him to
right.
just
But then
now
they bring
yeah,
in the
they can
prodigy.
reboot it, and of course Glenn Powell probably
I
be
was
in
gonna
that.
say, is Glenn Powell gonna be the guy? We find out that Top Gun Maverick was actually in the IMF universe.
Right.
That was the initiation.
He's a love child that you never knew about, right? Kind of
I
like
think
James
if they
Bond.
did I don't know if they would reboot it, but I do believe that they would get Glenn Powell or
Oh,
whoever and make an origin story of Ethan Hunt.
of course.
And then
Of
if that one did well, then they're like, you know what, maybe
of
we should reboot it.
course. I mean, at this point, Glenn Powell has played everybody. He's even
Yeah.
playing a fake Eli Manning character in
And that was based off of a commercial, or no, just a stunt that they did at, was it Penn
yes,
State? It was
it
just based off a stunt.
a stunt. Yeah,
Like, was it promoting something, or was it just them goofing off and
I
bringing in
think it
Eli
was
Manning?
just him he might have done it, through I don't, maybe his podcast or I don't know. But
Yeah,
yeah, it just yeah. So
it's like
that's
those SNL movies, SNL skits that end up becoming full movies, but like this wasn't even like a skit. This was
and we
just
know how well those all do. Except for like I guess
exactly
the only one that's like really popular is Wayne's World.
Wayne's World. Yeah, yeah. I mean the
Yeah.
Coneheads, but that's like a cult classic one, not really like a good one.
So yeah, we had Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Superman, Mission Impossible, Final Reckoning, Ballerina, and Wicked were our ones that we agreed on.
Yes,
And then you had The Running Man,
Predator, Badlands.
Predator, Badlands, F1.
Yes.
Yes.
And then Mission Impossible and Tron. And
Yes.
I tried to find some like drama movies, and I believe that there will be comedies that I end up loving. There will be drama movies.
Sure.
I just like I had like my laptop like fully opened. I was looking and I was like, none of these are just jumping out at me.
Right.
But again, like I
But the
said,
remake of Anaconda isn't hitting you?
can't
So
do it.
I am actually looking forward to Sinners coming up here with Michael B. Jordan, the
Yes.
vampire movie.
And
It's
Haley
was
Steinfeld.
yes, and Ryan because I Ryan Coog is it Ryan Coogler
Hmm.
and him together are like I think he just pulls out the best of him because I do
Yes.
believe didn't he do Creed 3?
He did Creed 3. I think it was Creed 3, maybe Creed
Hmm.
1.
And then Black Panther, obviously.
Black Panther, Fruitvale Station, which miserable movie. I just anyway, but they've teamed up quite a bit.
Yeah,
And
he pulls the best out of him. Yeah.
yes,
And so,
100%.
I mean, regardless of what you think of his thumb right now on social media, that was not something I was expecting to see him criticized over. But I mean, it is a kind of a weird,
Yeah.
it is a weird thumb, but I'm not gonna, maybe it was photoshopped. I don't know. But anyways, I
You
mean,
couldn't
yeah.
be all the way perfect.
So I am looking forward. I will tell you off air of a tweet I saw about Josh Allen, Haley Steinfeld, and after he sees this movie.
I probably saw it.
Yeah, I can't say what
Ugh,
they're them saying what he may or may not say on the field next year. Yeah,
yes.
but yeah. So I mean, that's yeah.
I that
So
one
anyway,
was on my it didn't make my list,
right.
obviously, but it was on the radar. I'll put it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. I am looking forward to that because like I said, I think those two together, they just a very good pairing. There's a lot of times
Mhm.
there's a good director actor pairs, and I think he's those two are one of them. Mickey 17 with Robert Pattinson, I
That one
think
was
is
also
a
on my radar.
yeah. The guy who did the Bon is it Bon Joon Ho or Bon Ho Joon or I get the but he's the one who directed Parasite and
Okay.
yeah.
And
And
Robert
so
Pattinson is a good,
yes.
he's just a good actor. Like
Yes, he is.
I know I feel like he's successfully gotten away from Twilight, but
He at this point he should. Yes. I
yeah,
mean
he's done a
it would be
phenomenal
crazy
job.
because there are a lot of actors that have done some really crappy projects and they went on to become like Oscar award winning
Yeah.
like actors. So yeah, I am looking forward to that one because I the trailers I think are like I said, it's a great idea. I know it's based on a book. I think it's based on Mickey Seven is the book.
Hmm. Yes.
Yeah, it looks I just think that one just looks fun
Like you said,
and
the concept looks really good, and I think
right.
Robert Pattinson is a good actor who can balance the line of like comedy, but also the seriousness, because obviously this guy like is tired of dying. So
And changing his voice like
yes.
the boy and the heron like I think he did the heron like I think he was the voice of the bird and like um it's it's a Korean or Japanese animation movie, but it's really good. But I mean, his voice acting, I think, is underrated. I think it doesn't.
Hmm.
I did have Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. I also have 28 Years Later, and I will say I have never seen a one of them. So this is my
Same.
opportunity because everybody's so hyped for it. I am like I feel like I'm kind of proud, pat myself in the back, that I am not one of those people that the more hype people get about something that I reject it just because everybody's excited about it. I actually want to know what I want to get in
The
on the
little
fun.
cult
Like
of I've never seen a single episode of Game of Thrones people. They put that on their resume.
exhausting. They are coming up with another one. It's like far as the Targaryens. They're gonna
I
do something
did
like
see that
yeah.
as well. I just wasn't sure if that was real or not because I feel like I've seen so many
They
fake.
are not gonna let that franchise die
No,
ever.
not a chance.
No. So, yeah, so 28 days, 28 years later, because I believe it's 28 days later, 28 weeks later, and 28 years later. I have
Yes.
not seen any of them. I plan on seeing it's just like the Fast and Furious franchise. I had not seen a one until that one was coming out, and me and my child binged them all. And it was very hilarious because when you watch that first one and you just see is that it's like a cops and robbers kind of movie. Well, you're
Yes.
sitting there and you're like, this is such a like just cops and robbers kind of
It was
movie. And
based off of what's the Keanu Reeves movie that I'm blanking on right now?
I almost said Speed, not it's Point Break.
Point Break. It was
Okay,
because it's
you can
like
see it.
him,
Yeah,
he's the cop that
sure,
gets in with the criminals, and then in the end, duty or
right.
loyalty to the group. Like that's literally it was supposed to be a take on Point Break with
Absolutely, you can see it. But I
yeah,
what where Point Break stopped is Idris Elba then becomes a super soldier. So it's like, and they go to space. So it's like
exactly.
you're like when you're first watching that first one and you have no idea, like, and you're watching the progression of these, you're just like, holy Moses, this started out
Now
so
they're in
innocent.
space.
Now Ludacris is in space.
These street racers are now taking on like an entire militia of trained soldiers because reasons.
because of reasons, and no one ever dies except
No
for,
one
and the thing
ever
is,
does.
what kills me is the person who actually died, they refuse to ever admit he's dead.
Yes.
That he's
But then
always
all
just
the
at home
other
watching the
characters
kids.
that have died have all every single character that
Has
has
come back.
died has come back.
Yes, except for Paul Walker because he's obviously dead, but they
Exactly.
talk about him as if he's at home watching the kids.
Yes.
Mind blowing.
Yes.
Mind blowing. Yeah, it's very upsetting. So yes,
Weren't you guys just stealing DVD players and now you're going to space for the government? Like, oh, well, you know.
okay. Which is very hilarious because like right before we had seen that movie, Riley, my youngest, was like, the only place left is space. And literally in the part when they went to space, we just looked at each other and we were like, what is happening?
Yes.
Which again, I have to say, that was one of the most fun nights at a screening when we were all sitting there.
Right.
It was
Just
like Mystery
leaning
Science
over and be
Theater.
like, okay, now they're going to space. Okay, now they're driving down a dam.
Like, how is their child African American?
Right. Right? Here's these two people. Here's this one. It's like, okay, there was some infidelity somewhere. Are we
There
gonna Ludacris or
is
Tyrese? One of
Chris
you have something to
Hemsworth's wife
say?
and Vin Diesel made this, yes, like, yes, because family means melanin. So
Right.
that, like I said, that was one of the most, because like we were like that. Anybody that was sitting around that group of us that night is probably like, you guys need to shut up. But we were like this, it was like Mystery Science Theater 3000 is like, oh my God, like his shirt with
I was
his
gonna say
tank
they're in
top,
a burning car looking like Ghost Rider,
and it comes up
pristine white
stark white,
t-shirt,
stark white.
fresh out of the package.
That's right. Haynes was on set.
Yeah.
Brett T. So yeah, so yes, Mickey 17 Sinners. I did also have I don't know, no, I don't have Jurassic World
Same.
Park, whatever they have on mine. And like I said, 28 years later, because like I said, I have not seen it, and so I kind of want to see what the hype is all about.
I
Um,
didn't see the last Jurassic Park, the third part of the new trilogy,
is it
where they brought
Fallen
everyone back.
Kingdom? I don't know.
I think that
I
was
have
the
to,
second one.
I don't
I
even know what
didn't
the last
see
one
it, and the
is.
reviews weren't great, which I didn't expect it to be great.
Right.
I do plan on watching it. I'm a big Scarlett Johansson fan, but I think I tweeted. I was like, is this movie necessary? Like, I
Oh.
get the dinosaur things is cool, but what are we doing? Like, at this point, just nuke the island and be done with
And
it.
not only that, but like I had no idea until I'd seen, I guess, the update, the new trailer. There's now another child involved. And I'm always like, how, like, is there, is the Jurassic World Park formula that at some point a child has to be in danger?
It's the
There's
only
always,
way to justify, I think, going to an island where everything there wants to kill you. I think a child is like one of the only things. Now, I think they could make a good Jurassic Park movie by turning it into the most dangerous game type of deal, where some eccentric millionaires just dropping people in there, Hunger
sure,
Games style. Whoever makes it to the other end of the island is the
right.
winner. Let's take the kids out of it and let's go crazy with it.
Yeah, because like at some point you see them like on this boat, and I don't know if they're trying to escape at this point or they're going, but there's
Yeah.
a child on the boat, and I'm like, is there
And that's
just
how they
like
got the third one where the kid was parasailing and the dinosaur attacked the boat.
right?
The second one, kids were
Because Jeff
involved somehow.
Goldblum's African American child
Yes.
was in the trailer.
Yes. Then in this new one, Bryce Dallas Howard's nephew is
Yes,
in it. And then in the one after that, I think one of
there's a
the interns or something.
it's a um there no there's a little girl that she ends up
Yes.
being the clone,
Yes.
like she is a clone herself.
Oh,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but I mean, like that's the whole. I mean, like you kind of figure out what's going on, like through. But yeah, she is a clone herself, but it's another child, and I'm just like, okay, so you just have to have children. Like,
Yeah.
at
Take
this
the kids
point,
out of it.
feed the kids to the dinosaurs. Like, I don't even.
Honestly.
What are we
Yeah.
doing here?
Yeah.
So I didn't put that one on there, but I mean, again, as you're just like, I mean, like, yeah, I'm willing to see how this is reboot. How do you keep explaining all these islands popping up everywhere with new dinosaurs? Like the last, I think, island, is this the same island that the volcano erupted?
I don't know. But if it's not, then like you said, did they just migrate to another one nearby?
And
Like
there's flying dinosaurs. Like, why isn't anybody shoot? Why isn't the military shooting these out of the sky?
and I know there in the last one, well, the second to last one, because I didn't really see the last one, but there
Right.
was like human rights activists that were like,
Yes.
they have rights, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, fair, but also not to
No.
say these dinosaurs are unnatural, but at this point they are unnatural because they like we recreated them. What was it Jeff Goldblum said? Just because we figured out that we could
Yeah. Just
doesn't
because
mean
they
we
could
should.
doesn't mean we
Like
should.
nuke the island and you just have snipers on standby that if the flying ones make their way over there, you shoot them out of the sky. Maybe you have the Coast Guard patrolling all the beaches because I know there are some water dinos. Like just take them out. Let's just be done with it. Just just be
And I'm
done with it.
90% sure at the end of that one, the last one, the dinosaurs made it onto our what we would consider mainland.
I
Okay.
do remember that because
Because I
there was
believe there was
there was
an
like a secret
auction.
auction in
Yes, there was an
someone's basement,
auction.
like just bringing up all this trauma from this movie now. Oh,
So yeah, so there's an auction and they escape.
yes,
And so there shouldn't that be the new movie? Them
yes,
rounding up
they're
all the
in New York or where like that. That should be the movie. That
there's
is the movie.
velociraptors in Canada, people.
Yeah, because wasn't there a scene where like one of the dinosaurs went to the zoo and the T-Rex was
Yes.
going at the lion and you were like, "Oh,
Yes.
okay, they're here now." And they're like, "Psych, we're going back to the island."
Yes. There's like, yeah, they're at some point they're like the one is like I think the velociraptors are like running in the desert. Like, how about we have a movie about rounding those up?
Yeah. Yeah, you got a task force that
We don't
like, oh,
have to
you've
go
got
to an
the SWAT
island.
team, you've
You
got this and
brought
this
them
and all the
here.
dinosaur roundup crew.
You know, we don't need any more islands. They're here.
They're here.
Please.
Yeah.
Can you get those before we go and visit another island and decide to bring more of them back?
And then we find the secret dinosaur that this mad scientist was working on that was a combination of these 13 dinosaurs that makes it more dangerous than the last one.
Which they're not gonna kill it. I can't see them
No.
killing it. So it's going to live on this, and then it's like, do they not consider, well, if it's evolved to this point, maybe it's gonna grow flippers. And they
Yeah.
they have some in the ocean. I think they've
Yeah. They've
released some
got the
in
one in the ocean, and yeah, the last one that could turn invisible or the camouflage, like that should have been your sign that no matter what Marvels like happen, you got to put it down. This last one
Yep.
literally camouflaged itself. Like you were not equipped for that.
They are, like I said, they're on the mainland. I don't know why we're going and visiting more islands. Let's clean up the mess that we had prior.
Right.
Right. And the other one that I had was Avatar because I think, okay, so we're only on this will be number three.
Mhm.
From my understanding, there is supposed to be five total. Okay. I was gonna say six. I wasn't quite sure. I couldn't remember if it
Honestly, it
was
might be six. I stopped paying attention to James Cameron when he said five. Like,
five, six, nine. It doesn't really
yeah,
matter. It's
I think
long
once he
as
got to five, I was like, all right, dude, like, calm down.
okay, yeah, so five. I I know there's people that really, really love these movies, like really love these movies, like went to therapy because they love these movies so much. Do you remember that story?
I do remember that's a lot. I don't. Here's my thing, and this is a very petty reason. Like you said, you're a proud
It's
person that if the hype is there, you're not pulling away from it, and I agree. I respect that. But my issue with the Avatar
come on, it's
series,
the week of petty. We haven't finished the week
it's
yet.
true.
So, I mean, like,
My
let's keep going.
issue with the Avatar series is that this is a sci-fi movie. Essentially, it's Pocahontas, but whatever. James Cameron went on a whole campaign against all things Marvel and DC,
Oh yeah.
maybe Star Wars too, but like back when Marvel was pumping out movies, he was trashing all of their movies and saying it's crap, it's this and this, it's copy and paste, it's not real cinema. I know Martin Scorsese said the same thing. He's allowed to say that, but James Cameron, Terminator, phenomenal. Honestly, Avatar was incredible.
Mhm.
But you need to realize that you can't talk crap on a category that you're in the same category. No matter,
Right.
I realize that it's technically not superheroes, but like you're in the same category. And when I felt like he was just going on a campaign against superhero movies, I was like, well, you need to be a little bit more aware, dude.
Which, when you started talking about this, it reminded me something that I had seen is he is reference, you know what he's using a ton of references of
Mm-mm.
The Last Airbender. Because it's the Fire Nation.
I don't know how I didn't catch
He
that.
had the Water
He
Nation.
had the what?
Yes. And so he has been criticized
How did I
because
not see that? Oh my gosh.
yes, he's been criticized. There was a lot of people who are like, oh, so you're just blatantly ripping off Avatar The
Wow.
Last Airbender now because
Yeah, I
of
mean, yeah. Whoa.
yeah, so like yeah.
And I think they're fine movies. I know that when the first one came out, he was pitched. I also felt, and this was back in 2009, that all of the trailers were already insisting upon themselves. Like they were talking about how this was groundbreaking and was going to change everything about movies of all time. No one could ever do this except for
Right.
James Cameron. And I felt like the trailers were less about Avatar and more about like you're welcome for James Cameron allowing you to see this masterpiece that will change cinema forever.
Right. No, what? Yeah. I mean, he's using a lot of yeah. I mean, it's
I think it's good. He has an unlimited budget. Like I think the movies are fine movies, but it rubbed me the wrong way, the way that he was going after everything else, all the other sci-fi type movies, and I'm like,
yeah.
and now
I
I'm
mean,
making this connection now. Like once you've opened my eyes to this, like you're ripping off Avatar: The Last Airbender,
and
but you have
like
the audacity to go and talk about superhero movies all being the same and everything else.
but it's like he says it's like he also is like referencing like a lot of like Japanese anime.
I did see that, yes.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, it's wild that yeah, I mean again, I'll go see it. You know, you kind of he I mean, he obviously is got a whole Native American um indigenous message that he's given us. I don't
Well,
know
that's
if
the
he
first movie was literally Pocahontas.
right.
Like,
Yes.
so yes, and it'll be good. I think you have to see because you have to because it's a Disney movie now and they're gonna shove it down our throats because they have an unlimited budget for marketing. So they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna make sure that we know when it comes out. And yeah, that one was on my radar, but I didn't put it. It didn't crack my top five or honorable
I just
mention.
was just was like, I just want to see where it's going. Like, why?
That is
What?
one
What do you
thing. Yeah,
keep
you do wonder like
doing?
how much more can you
Yeah,
do?
like what are we squeeze? This is like how much juice can you squeeze out of this lemon? And it's like, did he really see this going when he did the very first one? Did he see it going 5 films? Was that the plan from the very
I
beginning? Or,
I'm pretty sure I vaguely remember when the first one came out, he said that he had already plans for two and three. I remember him saying that.
hmm
I don't remember four or five, but I know at minimum he said three. And then
hmm
I feel like a few years later he upped it to five, but he didn't come out with two for so long that I
Right.
thought the dream was dead. And then was it last year, 2 years ago, all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I'm back. Sequel's finally coming out. But I mean, I'm curious because he's done a bunch of interviews, but I'm curious how far back we can go because I think he said he had two and three back like when the first one came out.
Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes these directors over underestimate like how long everybody's attention span is now.
Everybody wants to create the next Star Wars, which, and we've talked about how Star
Right.
Wars is kind of trying to find itself right now, but you saw three movies become six movies, become nine movies, plus all the spin-offs and side
Right.
shows. So everyone wants to do that. But yeah, it's a different world right now.
Everybody's trying to create a universe. I mean, we got Godzilla. How many are we got Godzilla in the monster universe? And I
Right.
think they're actually coming out with another one. Like, I don't
I
know if
think you're
it's,
right.
I think it's like next year or something,
Yeah.
which that's
You got the Pacific Rim universe, which like
crazy.
yeah,
The
yeah,
Alien universe?
yeah, yeah.
Which Predator? I
There you
didn't
go.
even know
James
the
Cameron
Predator
has
was
that
part of that.
universe already. He's got the Terminator universe, the Alien universe. Like, why don't you just focus on those?
I cannot.
How many universes do you need?
All of them. Now that
Right?
Game of Thrones, it's Game of Thrones
Yeah.
Dune universe.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But so we're going to end it there. Those are our anticipated movies for 2025. We hope that none of them really kind of crash and burn. Obviously, some of them are just kind of more of wait and see. Let's see what happens with these.
Yes.
But the biggies, I think the biggies are pretty solid. I think they'll be pretty decent. I think July will be the big month. You've got Superman, Fantastic Four, and I know even the Jurassic World Park, whatever they're titling. I really have no idea what they're even titling the new one.
I
I
will
think all
say,
come.
other one I forgot was Knives Out 3.
Oh yeah,
Wake Up
is
Dead
that?
Man.
Yeah,
That one, I think it's late 2025.
yeah. It might be
So I'm
towards
thinking
like November, December, I
that's
think.
what I'm thinking, like a Thanksgiving
Hmm.
release or something.
There's a whole bunch because like I think there's even like a new Naked Gun reboots spotted
Yes.
for
Yes.
2025. There's a lot of probably like a lot of hit. I think that Warfare with blanking on
hmm I had just glanced over it when I was doing my
the guy who
last.
did Civil War.
Yes.
I can't think of his name now, but he's doing a warfare that's supposed to be the Iraq War, so that should be a good one. So I'm sure there's a lot of hidden gems in there that we just haven't, but those are the big ones. Probably, everybody's
Ray
top ones,
Mendoza
but
and Alex Garland.
yes, Alex Garland, that's his name.
Yeah.
Couldn't
That one
dream.
was on my radar. I think war movies can be really good, especially the more real they
Yeah.
get. But I
And he's got
also,
like an Iraqi veteran that helps
yeah.
him that he's been like co-directing with.
hmm
So, and writing these. So, yeah. So we hope you check out this one. Let us know what your top movies are anticipated and check out our other podcast where we talked about our anticipated series.
Yes.
And until then, we will see you next week with more stuff because or we could wait till Daredevil comes up. No, Daredevil isn't out until March, which I
That's
think is only
late
2 weeks.
March. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Two
I was
weeks,
so
right?
consumed by the Super Bowl. The first like week and a half of this month just flew by. I'm like coming out of my cave and like, we're already halfway through the month.
Oh, I know. I was like already walking around the house today and I was like, there's no sports on.
It is a rough spot. Like I love college basketball and the NBA, although NBA is
Yes,
lacking right now, but I've got college basketball, so I've been watching a ton of college basketball.
I'm gonna have to because there's
Yeah.
there's just nothing. It's a void right now. I'm
Yeah.
just like staring into. Although I will say I'm reading Devil's Reign, the this comic series, the reading event, Daredevil comic series that I don't want to say supposedly that Daredevil Born Again is based off of. Not
Oh,
it's not based off of Born Again, the Born Again series. It's actually supposed to be based off of Devil's Reign, which I have to say, so good. So if anybody
really?
out there has not read it, definitely read it. So good. If it if they use this story, I would be so happy if they were to use the storyline, but I will tell you it is super friggin' dark. But highly suggest it's a really good one. It's a pretty short one. It's not like the 57 issue of Red Hulk that I had to slog
Ooh,
through.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's so good. So good. And it's pretty decent and it'll be
I like
interesting
it.
if they decide to go that way. So until then, bye.
We'll see.